On September 14th, 2001, the Gamecube came out in Japan. In the same year, on November 18th, it came out in the United States. In Europe, May 3rd, 2002. Bloody Roar Primal Fury came out on March 19th, 2002 for America, April 25th, 2002 for Japan, and is a launch title for the European version of the Gamecube. I wanted to give a frame of reference about how soon this game came out after the Gamecube, but according to the Wikipedia page, development started soon after Bloody Roar 3, which is the prequel to this one. Bloody Roar 3 premiered in arcades in December 2000, then it was ported to PS2 on March 1st, 2001. They had very little over a year to develop this game, and it shows. Even if we ignore the development time, this game came out 10 months after the Gamecube launched. It wasn't the only fighting game on the Gamecube at this point, though. Capcom vs SNK 2 and Super Smash Bros. Melee had been out already at that point. Both of those games come from very prestigious and still loved series. Meanwhile, Bloody Roar has kind of fallen to obscurity over time. It only had one sequel, Bloody Roar 4, which is not even on the Gamecube, and then the series died. Primal Fury sold pretty well, however. It sold 1,800,000 copies around the world, and its sequel-ish kind of expansion pack for the Xbox only sold 40,000 copies. That one being Bloody Roar Extreme. In that version, all they really did was add a costume. They also took away all the anime cutscenes and made them CGI. Regardless, let's refocus on the Gamecube here, and see what the game is all about. The game is a 3D fighter a la Tekken. Unlike Tekken, you'll notice that characters do swap their leading foot. The problem with switching the leading foot is that the animations are reversed as well. This can result in attacks launching people into the foreground and in the background in the exact same match under the exact same conditions using the exact same inputs. Frankly, it's very annoying. It seems like a small issue, but it can deny you ring outs if your character's in the wrong stance. Either way, rather than controlling each character's limb with the inputs, you have a block button, a punch button, a kick button, and a beast button. Punching, kicking, and blocking does exactly what you think it does. Moving towards your opponent and pressing the block button allows you to throw them if you're right next to them. And the beast button allows you to turn into a beast. For 87.5% of the characters in this roster, that means turning into a furry. 2 of them don't turn into furries. One into a robot, and the other one into an unborn, whatever the hell that means. There's also these super armor move things. They absorb some attacks completely, some others do damage through them, some of them just stop them outright and beat them. I don't know how to describe these things really, they're really inconsistent. Which brings me to the next problem of this game. There's no move list, or tutorial, or anything to learn. 90% of the time while I'm playing this, I'm button mashing hoping that I do a low, or a high, or a mid, or something and hit the opponent, because I genuinely have no idea what the hell I'm even doing in the game. The lack of a tutorial and a moveset makes this game feel really awkward. Now that wouldn't be a problem if the characters are really simple, but they aren't. For example, Alice has really weak moves as a human, but becomes really strong as a beast. Meanwhile, Gato, I don't really know what he does because I can't use him properly. I either die or get really lucky and win. You can't have absolutely no basic tutorial in the game or moveset for each character that players can reference without making them all generic. It just doesn't work like that. If you're gonna make every character specialized and have a unique fighting style, players need to know what the hell they're doing with that character, or they're not gonna pick that character and find the one character they can win easily with and just stick with that one instead, rather than finding somebody that actually fits their gameplay style. Could you imagine if Mario Party gave you no instructions and just threw you into the minigames? That would suck so badly. Yet this is what Bloody Roar does. It just throws you into the game, no telling you how to do anything at all. Meanwhile, Tekken gives you each character's move list, a key to that move list, your attack properties, your hit properties, your inputs. It doesn't tell you how to play each character, but it gives you enough room to experiment and know what's going right and what's going wrong. Even while recording this background footage for this video, I learned a new combo, or a possible new combo, to expand upon later. Bloody Roar just never gives you this opportunity. It's really disappointing, honestly. Not only that, but whenever you try to get a juggle going, the character might just flip around in the air and recover immediately. And when you knock him on the ground, that might be given temporary invincibility, but really weirdly, not exactly when you think they would get it, once they fall on the floor. But only some attacks can actually break that invincibility, and other attacks can, but can't at the same time. It's very, very weird. I can't explain it very well because it's not explained to me very well by the game. This boils down to there being no way to play offensively, but also the only way to play is playing offense because you don't want to get knocked down or knocked up and then be stuck into a weird state where you can't defend yourself, but you're also invincible. It's very strange because you can't really rely on being invincible or defending yourself at the same time if you're on the ground or you're in the air. The game is just stuck in this never-ending neutral. It's really, really tiresome. Like running a treadmill that never ends. You never hit the stop button. It just never ends. You keep trying to get to the end and it just keeps going further and further away until, uh-oh, you suddenly won without really realizing what you were doing. This game never has moments when you're like, this is the final blow, or this combo will decide the match, or I got this in the bag. It's just kind of like, I spam punches until I win. It's a very strange feeling. You never have an advantage or a disadvantage. Unless you're Uranus, because she is OP and she's a secret boss character, so that's why she's OP. Because this is back in times where boss characters were not balanced at all and they were just OP. More of this strange balancing comes into play when it comes to the characters' transformations, which the developers couldn't seem to balance properly. Some characters like Boost Zima get unique opportunities in their animal forms. However, most characters just get claw attacks, which is really underwhelming. You'd expect Furry Mode to be a giant uprising in power, but in reality it just gives you some extra moves for most characters, and health regen. It's not fast, so it's not a major game changer, so at least it's not brokenly strong or anything. Ah shit, I won again. There is also a hyper mode. Depending on how much of a furry you are, this is either unfortunately or fortunately not what you're thinking of. When your bar is full, you can enter a super state. Instead of just being a normal furry, you're a faster health regenerating furry and a little bit stronger, and that's really it for most characters. If you use it before the bar is full, you lose health in exchange for how much bar you need to actually get to that full bar. It's really only useful for Alice in my opinion, because she's really shit without her furry form. So sacrificing HP to get back into your furry form so you can actually fight might be worth it in the end. That's really all there is to the combat. The lack of being able to juggle or get some kind of offensive pressure really puts a damper on the game in my opinion. It's like playing a game with buffs and debuffs but never using them and just spamming attack the whole time. It's just counterintuitive. So we've settled that the game's combat is really damn shallow. What about the other stuff in the game? There's arcade mode where you fight 8 people and then you get an ending for your character. They seem to follow some kind of story that the game never elaborates on, so they're not particularly funny or interesting like other games' endings. Also, some characters just don't get endings at all, which baffles me. They're not guest characters or anything, they're just not given an ending. This is well before arcade modes meant nothing to us, so I don't know why they didn't give them an ending. It's just really lazy. Also, there's no audio in anybody's ending except for one little music track that plays in every single person's ending, the exact same song each time. Incredibly strange and incredibly disappointing. Along with that, there's your standard stuff. Versus, practice, survival, team battle, versus team battle. The standards. Nothing special. There are cheat codes that allow you to mess up with the character's proportions and the walls, but they're not really that crazy outside of just some basic gameplay tweaks. In fact, I call them other options rather than cheats in my opinion. Because that's all they really are. They aren't like massive gameplay modifiers or fun modes, it's just some slight alterations to the existing mode. The game's combat is shallow, there's not much to unlock, the video endings are kind of crappy, there's not a lot of depth in the other modes either. Is the music good at least? It depends on your taste, but it's all generic arcade music. The only real jammer in my opinion is the character select theme, and that's really it. If you like generic Chuck E. Cheese arcade music, go ahead, you'll like this game. It's all guitars and it's synths from 2001. It's not really that groundbreaking. But if you don't like that, you're going to want to beat this game immediately. That's all it is. There's nothing special. There's no alternate tracks, there's no 8-bit, no R&B, no relaxing music. It's just like, you know, like all these beeps and bloops and guitar riffs. It's very, very early 2000s. The character designs remind me of the early 90s of anime where every character had really jagged haircuts, but I kinda like it. Mostly because the simplicity of the outfits contrasting with their haircuts and, of course, the furry forms being a nice treat to the eyes. Aesthetically, the game is really, really outdated, but in terms of graphics, the game doesn't look that bad actually. It has some fog and some lighting that's ahead of itself, and I really like the way it looks. Forcing the game to a 16:9 resolution breaks most of this stuff, so here it is without that. So yeah, I have to accommodate the graphics for this game. They're pretty good. But that's about the only good thing about this game that I would come back to see, the characters, because they look cool. I could just do that by drawing them, or going on DeviantArt, or watching a video about them. This game is not that good. It just isn't. Even from a casual perspective, it doesn't have a lot of content to play around with. And from a competitive standpoint, hell no. We put all those negatives together, that's why this series died. Better balanced games offered more casual content. Bloody Roar had nothing else to give to us. It ran its course. We had furries and that's it. That's all that game really has. This is why we don't see casual fighting games like this anymore, because the better balanced ones and the more competitive ones have more casual content already packed in. Why would I want to play Bloody Roar when I can make my own furry character in Soul Calibur, or make my own character in Tekken, customize the existing characters, and then have a better experience as well with the combat because it's fine-tuned, versus being weirdly floaty and being always in neutral. Hopefully someday this series is innovated and brought back to the light, but I don't know, it's been forever since the last release, so it's looking very grim for it. It's probably dead forever. Either way, I'm Blue. Thank you for listening to me rant about this game for about 10 minutes, and I'll see you guys next time on Blue the Hedgehog. If you really want to try this game out, you're going to have to emulate it, because Gamecube games aren't sold anymore, and I don't think it's on the Nintendo Switch's virtual shop or whatever. Alright, see you furries on the next episode of Blue the Hedgehog. Doodles.